fellow babies, and welcome to the show that is single-handedly responsible for the legalized marijuana movement. It's the 42 Show.
Hooray! And in tonight's news that we're not going to cover tonight, North Korea bans rooster hairstyles and see-through sleeves, with women told that they will be jailed if they have their heads shaved and if they flout the new fashion rules. Sounds glorious. Also, Son of Concorde can cross the Atlantic in 3.5 hours. It's a milestone as a return of supersonic passenger jets move closer and closer to reality. And while other things are hitting the floor with reality, SpaceX rocket booster burns into flames after toppling over during landing, which is not bad, considering the number of successes they've had. But oops.
Yeah. Big oops indeed. And as we say, a big happy birthday to Liz Mailer in the chat there. We're going to open tonight with a little topic that I'm very much in favor of, right to repair. Now, I know that's a warship. Hear me out here, everybody. I'm telling you, this couldn't get any stranger. So we've got a situation where lobbying groups across literally most of the device manufacturing industry, tractors, fridge makers, consumer devices, motorcycles, medical equipment, on and on and on, are lobbying hard against a new American legislation that would require military contractors to make it easy for the U.S. military to fix the equipment they buy. Right? So This whole thing, right to repair, I'm on about it a lot. It's not just us, the consumers. These assholes think they've got everyone by the kahunas, right? So this anti-repair lobbying shows the manufacturers are still doing everything they can to retain these lucrative situations they've got, right? And they want to kill any legislation that would threaten the repair monopolies they've been building for years now. So there is a new legislation here. Senator Elizabeth Warren here explains a bit. Contractors often place restrictions on these deals with the military that prevent service members from maintaining or repairing the equipment, or even let them write a training manual without going back to the contractor. How can we be in a situation where somebody who's under contract to the U.S. military making something and they say, no, you're not allowed to fix this. We'll send a technician. Back when the Humvee was the big vehicle when it came in, the Army and everybody else who used them had their own mechanics that fixed them all the time. This was before this crap, right? So let me continue here. The right to repair restrictions usually translate into much higher costs for the DoD, Department of Defense, which has no choice but to shovel money out to big contractors whenever they need to have something fixed, right? The example was the Littoral Combat Ship, which I believe is what on the screen there, and it cost hundreds of millions of dollars, right? General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin consider much of the data on the ship to be proprietary. So the Navy had to delay missions and spend millions on travel costs just so the contractor-affiliated repairmen could fly in rather than doing it ourselves. Now you might
like during a battle situation, it's like, engineering, we got 5 minutes to get out of here before we get blown up. Sorry, we got to go back to the manufacturers first.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of Lockheed. They're just not answering. Hold on, Captain. Can you imagine this, right? But now you might think to yourself, remember my intro. Companies that make fridges, consumer devices, motorcycles, and medical equipment are all lobbying hard to kill this legislation. Well, why would those companies be lobbying to kill a legislation that deals with an industry that they're not in? This is why. Because if this legislation passes, anybody with an ounce of brains in their head is going to go, wait a minute, what about consumer protections from the same damn things? And all of these companies that are making some big cabbage every year on proprietary lockdown systems where I can't just go to a qualified repair person to fix it are going to lose that revenue if this stuff happens. And as such, their stock price will be heavily affected, even though it won't affect the company that much. This is what's going on. So I hope and pray that the Americans have teeth enough to make this stick, because it will blast a hole into the right to repair segment of consumer consciousness that hopefully will get it so we are all protected properly.
Well, it's got to be fixed. I mean, no pun intended. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. You know, I mean, when a farmer can't just change the starter on his tractor because it burned out without having to wait a week for the John Deere guy to come out with his computer to tell the computers, oh, that starter's okay, you're allowed to use it, and then the tractor works again, we got a freaking problem. That's unacceptable. But that's exactly where John Deere and a few other people have put us. So, you know, not good at all. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully.
So moving on to the Mile High Bakery, because a baking influencer from the United States has been slammed after she baked bread for her sister while aboard a flight to Spain. In a video that went viral on Instagram, Maria Baradell decided on making sourdough loaf from scratch while traveling to Spain. In the video, she can be seen mixing. I know. In the video, she can be seen mixing salt, flour, and water in a bowl on her tray table. She then works on the dough, kneading and shaping it, turning the aircraft into a sort of 30,000 foot prep kitchen. They're shown in the follow-up video that the home cook chose to wait to bake the bun until she was reunited with her sister in Spain, rather attempted to bake it while on board. Yeah, I'm not too sure what with. You just stick it in the engine exhaust.
Maybe she brought an easy bake and just looking for a plug-in, you know?
But a crew member added that Miss Baradell was infected the bread because of the unhygienic conditions on planes, having seen people vomit, trim their toenails, and even change diapers on the tray table.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that these planes where we get on them are unhygienic? Hang on a minute. I'm not too sure about this.
I think they just admitted that nobody cleans that shit properly.
I know. It's pretty much what they're saying. A crew member, imagine, you settle into your seat and then the person next to you sets up a camera and starts taking out bowls of ingredients and baking bread.
Today we are going to make a bread.
This is ridiculous. All for social media attention. Somebody says, looks really cute, but please don't do it again in planes. It's really a close place, and a celiac could suffer from intoxication.
Yeah.
The flour can easily fly and spread. Yeah.
Exactly. This is actually dangerous to some people, right?
Yeah, they're saying it's inconsiderate for all people on the plane allergic to wheat and or gluten.
Yeah.
And if I was sat next to you, I would ask for a new seat immediately and a full refund. To make me sick. Yeah.
Get over yourself, you fucking prima donna bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you?
But Miss Baradell later wrote in the caption of a second video and says, the Mile High Sourdough Club won't be a thing. I was trying to be creative after I saw another creator making pasta in flight. Thanks to your comments, I've learned this is not a good idea. So what you learned the lesson.
Why did you have to be called out in public to figure this out?
But what's going to be next? Like someone just repairing a motorcycle engine while in first class.
Yeah. No, they're not needles. They're carburetor jets. It's all right.
Oh, I know. They could go onto a Boeing flight and they can do one of those. Will it start?
Be kicking over a 2-stroke on a 747. There we go. We get this running. I don't know, man. I think social media, the desire to be, that's too far. Get over yourself, right?
Yeah, very silly.
And somebody that's trying to fight that whole train of thought is France. They are going to trial a complete and total ban on mobile phones at schools for pupils up to the age of 15, seeking to give kids a digital pause. So they were under a different plan that was tried before. They weren't allowed to use them during the day, but they still were allowed to keep them on them and stuff. With this one, 200 schools will be literally making the kids hand over the phones at the start of the day and you get them back at the end. That's going to be a nightmare to figure out,
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, So this commission set up by President Macron there expressed concern that the overexposure of children to screens was having a detrimental effect on their health and development. There was a 140-page report published in March concluded that there was a very clear consensus on the direct and indirect negative effects of digital devices on sleep, a lack of physical activity, and the risk of being overweight and even obese, as well as on sight, they added. It said the hyper use, in quotes, of phones and other digital technology was not only bad for children, but also for society and civilization. Okay, I can see arguments for that for sure. They recommended there's just so much of the zombie thing going on, right? The report recommended children's use of mobile phones be controlled in stages. None till the age of, no mobile phones before the age of like 11. Mobile phones without internet access, 11, 13. What's the point? Phones with internet but no access to social media before 15. How are you going to pull that off? It also suggested children under 3 should not be exposed to digital devices at all. And, they go into a few more things. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because there's going to be an obvious push in the background for them to be able to keep them. And part of that push will probably be from, business, from phone makers, from social media companies. There'll probably be some paid lobby groups and whatnot. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
I think they extend the age from 15 to adult as well, because I think there's way too many adults. It's like sunk into the mobile phone, infrastructure. Just get out of it.
Oh, yeah. You know how many people, like in a year, I see walk into a pole or a sign because they're doing this, with their thumbs, It's hilarious. Actually, I like that, though. That's funny.
Yeah. But if you are watching the Shills on a mobile phone, God bless you. God bless you.
Don't hang up till we're done. No. So there's an image.
Yeah, back to France again, because, nudes are a major feature of the newest exhibition at the Marseille Museum of European and Mediterranean civilizations, and not only on the walls, because the museum is allowing visitors to discover their relationship to naturism by viewing the works of art naked, except for their shoes.
Now I get the image. All right.
Eric Stefanet of France's FFN Naturist organization said there is no objection to bare feet, but insisting on the footwear as a precaution against the museum's parquet flooring. It's to avoid getting splinters. What kind of a flooring have they got?
What kind of people do they have taking care of the place? I mean...
But nude visits to the Naturist Paradises exhibition are run in partnership with the French Naturist Federation, one evening a month when the museum is normally closed. The exhibition features 600 photographs, films, magazines, paintings, sculptures, nothing dirty, and all other artworks from the naturist communities. Apparently, France is the world's leading tourist destination for naturists. He says, today there's a new craze for nudity in nature, a craze that goes hand in hand with the quest for healthy vegetarian diets and the use of natural therapies, meditation, and yoga. Yeah, all just nonsense.
I can already tell you everybody who's going to be there to view this. It's going to be those people that go to like motorhome caravan parks every weekend, and their keys always end up in the bowl to see whose wife they're going to go home with that night.
Yeah, I'll take my. If I went to one of those, I'd take my keys and throw them in the bushes.
I'd walk. Sorry, I don't have keys.
Those amongst the 80 stripped-down visitors to the museum in August naturist slot, their words, not mine, said that seeing the exhibition in the nude was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No, it's not. You can go next month as well. What are you talking about?
They'll publish it on the internet and you could do it daily. Come on.
He says there's not a lot of naturist stuff in England. He said it's cold. Being naked in England is seen as something a bit bizarre and shameful. Well, yeah, you get arrested.
Yeah, go down to the local pub with your fucking sword swinging and see how that works out for you.
Go down to the Natural History Museum and look at the big dinosaurs. Yeah, come and look at my T-Rex.
Are you saluting the dinosaur? What's going on here?
Bruno Sorez, the head of the Marseille Naturist Association, told visitors the movement emerged in Switzerland and Germany in the 19th century. France's first naturist group was formed in the southern eastern province region in 1930 before taking off around the country. Yeah, dirty bastards, the French. Marseille boasts several dedicated naturist centres because of the Mediterranean climate, apparently. Yeah. It's just warm. Everyone just wants to take the kit off.
We have a few of these nudist colonies up here in Canada, and they're the type that think a porta potty is like a hot tub.
It's a drinks cooler. Yeah, so the thing is, it does say that, you don't have to be naked to go and see the thing, because anybody wanting to visit fully dressed during those hours just might be considered a little bit odd. While you're standing next to the flabby German guy with all his kit off and just sandals and socks.
Madam, do you mind? Your breast is on my shoe.
Oh, you don't want to get splinters on those breasts. Right, moving on.
Okay, so I've got a funny one here, because at first the research team put it in and I was like, I don't care. Then I actually looked into it and figured out that I do care. So I know this picture doesn't match what I'm about to say, but follow along. French authorities have detained Pavel Durov on allegations that his Telegram social media platform was being used for horrid things like child pornography, drug trafficking, organized crime. But the big freak out is actually coming from Russia. Telegram is widely used by the Russian military for battlefield communications because Russia couldn't roll out its own secure system. It just didn't happen, right? It's also the primary vehicle for pro-war military bloggers and media and other Russians, right? So it's Orc Central. And the one Russian military blogger has said they've practically detained the head of communication for the Russian army, right? So Russians are flipping out. They're calling for the release. The Russian embassy where he is right now is demanding access to him and whatnot. Have you figured out yet what's going on here? This guy has the ability to give up the encryption keys.
Oh,
right? Because of this arrest, they could gain access to all of the communications that nobody could get access to before through the system. So, Deputy Speaker of the Russian Duma said in a Telegram statement, this cannot be allowed. If the French authorities refuse to release him from custody, I propose making every effort to move him to the UAE or the Russian Federation. And yeah, they're worried. They're flipping out because if this guy decides to hand over the keys to, try to appease the laws. I mean, if they find him guilty for aiding and abetting child pornography, drug trafficking, and so on through the site, he could be in for literally like lifetime in jail. So it's not too much of a stretch to see that this guy might go, okay, here, take the keys. You can figure it all out for yourselves and let me go back to not being in jail.
Well, yeah, that'll be a hard sell.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to keep him in jail anyway.
I wouldn't doubt it, right? And it's a cesspool, but, if you're a company and you decide that you're not going to moderate your platform and just let people use it for how they see fit, I'm not sure that you're legally at fault. I find a gray area there. Like, you could have a torrent site. Okay, there's lots of legal files that you can torrent back and forth between users on the internet, but somebody posts a movie on the torrent site. Is the torrent site at fault or is the user at fault for knowingly breaking copyright? I don't see that the site did anything wrong. I don't think it's right that authorities are now putting all of the onus on the sites. But in saying that, that would mean that Zuckerberg's free to let COVID misinformation run amok on Facebook. So it's a really double-edged thing, right?
Yeah, it's a gray area. It depends on your point of view at the time.
Exactly, But I do know for sure that Russia is freaking out about this, and I hope he gives up the keys because, wow, France is one of those countries that says, we're ready to bring troops in, use our weapons for whatever you want. That Macron guy, he's awesome. And I wouldn't doubt that he would just
will be naked.
Yeah, well, at least dressed well because it's France, right? But I wouldn't doubt if they can get a hold of the keys, he would give them to Zelensky as fast as he can get on the fucking phone. So, where are you going?
You want me to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were enjoying yourself there. I just didn't know you shut up. Authorities in Hong Kong have reportedly asked young boys and girls to play badminton together in an effort to curb sexual urges and other intimate behaviors.
I'm sorry, what?
A 70-page document published last week by Hong Kong's Educational Bureau on sexual education for both students and teachers teaches adolescents the relationship between love and sex, the importance of boundaries, and how to cope with sexual impulses that could often quite happen if you are in the act of one of those impulses. It is normal for people. I'm not going to do the accent. It is normal for people to have sexual fantasies and desires, but we must recognize that we are the masters of our desires and should think twice before acting and control our desires instead of being controlled by them. The document was reading.
I was full on what's the guy? Seinfeld. And when he says, I am the master of my domain in the how long can you go without masturbating episode, they stole that.
Yeah, and they put it in a document. Apparently lovers who are unable to cope with the consequences of premarital sex, such as unwed marital pregnancy, legal consequences, and emotional distress, should firmly refuse to have sex before marriage. Well, that's a fair point. But along with the guide, students are also given. Okay.
If you wait to have sex after you're married, that's everybody knows. You get married, it's all good, and then it goes downhill to the point where watching reruns of the X-Files is the preferred activity. So you've got to get some in before to make sure that you know what I mean.
Oh, just not with to be with someone else. But apparently, where was I? Along with the guide, students were also given a commitment form to create defined limits within a relationship, where they could pledge, to control sexual impulses and aim to develop self-discipline, self-control, and resistance to pornography. Yes. Get one of those pornography sprays, like fly spray.
I have a resistance to pornography, but I have to reapply it once a month because it wears off.
Yeah, your resistance is just a title choice. The document laid out various situations and offers suggestions to the students on what they could be doing to distract themselves. For example, if one couple chanced upon another indulging in sexual behavior, that's called voyeurism. The former should try leaving the scene immediately or enjoying the sight of flowers and trees in the park instead.
My God. Oh my God.
This is an unofficial document. But another example stated that a boy and a girl studying together should go out and play badminton together in the sports hall in case they got aroused. What the hell are they studying?
Wow.
Yeah. But, Hong Kong's authorities, however, have defended their teaching guide, even though a lot of people said it's stupid.
It is.
I don't know. Have you read it?
At this point, I don't have to, because if anybody said to me, hey, when your willy gets hard in class, instead of staring at the cute girl, why don't you go play around a badminton? I would just...
and beat it with your racket.
He'd be wearing the racket like a fucking necklace. I just whap.
Just beat it down, like that guy did with his snake in the
yeah.
Anyway, enough of this official nonsense.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I got official nonsense. So Because
goody.
once again, I got something really funny about orc and orc scum. So check this out. See that picture there? You've probably seen a few like that. So let's say you're an orc and you're in Kursk and you're speeding down the road because there's like literally a drone behind you and you know you could take it and just be wiped out, right? Now, you're an orc. I kind of hope it happens, right? No offense, but you're an orc.
No offense, but I fucking hate you.
I mean, it's not my fault. They're orcs, right? I'm just, being honest about the situation. But what's happening is as they speed down the road to get out of Dodge, the speeding cameras are catching them and sending them traffic tickets. I shit you not. It's even funnier because some of the people that have been busted speeding are military folk. So one guy put paper over the license plate so he wouldn't get caught again. But the cops actually saw him speeding and grabbed him, and he spent 12 days in jail.
Bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I mean, the expression, don't you know there's a war on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rob Lee, a known analyst of the whole situation with Russia and Ukraine being invaded. Traffic cameras are still operating in Kursk, and people are receiving speeding fines, trying to outrun the FPVs. Some have resorted to covering the license plate, but the traffic force are forcing them to remove them and even giving them shit for it. So this is not just an oops, we forgot. The traffic cops are out there literally busting people and trying to get money out of them because they're, fleeing. That's unbelievable. Only in Russia can this stupid shit happen to people. Oh my God. We got a shout out to do here too. We got a cool super chat in from Petra Olsen, no less. The Swedish funds of 129, no less, with love to Ukraine. I think I've said that more than once on this channel. Thanks, Petra. Thank you very much. Into the old boom boom fund it goes. Yeah.
We're
Traffic ticket fund.
Yeah, we're going to start doing a fundraiser to help pay off Russian traffic tickets. We'd have to raise millions.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I bet they wouldn't get a traffic ticket if they were going the other direction towards the enemy.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh man, it's too funny. It's too funny. I mean, it's Kursk. I can't believe they're just not traffic tearing them up. But yeah. So go Ukraine, go, because you're really disrupting shit over there. These idiots don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I'm just glad the Ukrainians aren't targeting the cameras. Leave them alone. Let them suffer.
Yeah. If you're watching and leave the cameras, okay? Leave the cameras. Yeah.
Until you start getting tickets, then blow them up.
Yeah. Okay,
talking about breaking things. A 3,500-year-old jar has been accidentally smashed into pieces by a 4-year-old boy during a trip to a museum in Israel. The Hecht Museum in Haifa stated the crockery dated back to the Bronze Age between 2,200 and 1,500 BC and was a rare artifact because it was so intact.
Then why was it so easily to knock over? They're idiots.
Yeah. It had been on display near the entrance of the museum without glass, as the museum believes there was a special charm in showing archaeological finds without obstructions. You can see the stand there. It's supposed to sit in. It's just like rests in it. Yeah. It's one of those like funny shaped jars. The boy's father, Alex, said that his son pulled the jar slightly because he was curious about what was inside, causing it to fall over.
Makes sense.
Alex said he was in shock to see his son next to the smashed jar, and at first thought, "Oh, it wasn't my child who did it. It wasn't me." However, after calming the boy down, I wouldn't mind calming the boy down. I can imagine his mother is screaming like a banshee.
Yeah.
he spoke to the security guard. Said, "Oh, look, some child has knocked over a jar." Wasn't mine. But the Hecht Museum said the child has been invited back to the exhibition with his family for an organized tour after the incident happened a few days ago. He says there are instances where display items are intentionally damaged, and in such cases, they are treated with great severity, including the police. But in this case, however, this was not the situation. The jar was accidentally damaged by a young child visiting the museum, and the response will be accordingly. A specialist in conservation, get it right, has been appointed to restore the jar and will be returned to its spot in a short time.
Restore it. Just dig up another one. It's broken.
They're sticking together a bit of super glue, aren't they? The boy's father, Alex, said they all feel relieved to see the jar restored, and added they were very, 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 very sorry, and we won't do it again.
That's one of those things. Even the most well-behaved good kid could have done that by accident, because a child of that age is not going to understand the balance and stuff and whatnot. And,
No. You didn't get the right toys. He was all on an iPhone or something. I don't know.
Should have pissed in it.
The jar was most likely originally intended to be used to carry local supplies such as wine and olive oil.
Olive oil, yeah.
I mean, you can imagine in the future, like, the museum has got like a Pringles can on display. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this device. It's 3,000 years old, and we believe it used to carry chips.
yeah.
And then some kid runs around with it.
They used to take vegetables and turn them into a mash and shape them in this little thing and line them up, and people would eat them and get cancer. Oh, okay.
That's why they all died. Carrying this jar was like, it predates the time of biblical King David and King Solomon. So we could blame them, I suppose. Similar items of pottery found during archaeological digs are usually broken or incomplete.
Well, it looks like there's a full one just over to the side there. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. That's about the best I can get it. Yeah, there. Yeah, look, there's even another one.
Yeah, send the kids in. Smash them all up.
Exactly. What we need is the kid's brother to go in and do another one. I'm kidding. I like ancient history. That's one of my favorite things. So
archaeologists like putting broken bits of pots together again anyway, don't they?
Yeah. But they like to dig them up that way, not smash it afterwards. So we've got to do one on them before we're done here. But Ronald Gump made a faux pas again. And not so much him, but his team. So he was over at Arlington National Cemetery. I'm sure some of you already know this. And an employee was pushed aside by during the visit. The U.S. Army are now saying she acted professionally and was being unfairly attacked. I love that. So what happened was, he was over in section 60 of the cemetery where troops are buried and is considered hallowed ground. Federal law and Pentagon policies do not allow political activities in that section of the cemetery, but videos were taken by Trump's campaign. So what happened was the woman in question kind of approached them and said, hey, you can't be doing this. And she was literally shoved aside. And the Army statement said the incident was unfortunate, and it's also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. So let me just scroll down here. The Trump campaign spokesperson said, the fact is a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual clearly suffering from a mental health episode decided to physically block members of Trump's team during a solemn ceremony. You are a fucking liar, buddy. You and your goddamn cronies knew that you were allowed to go in with a photographer, but you also knew that Section 60 was an absolute no-go, and you did it anyway. You're lying, and you're a fucking liar. You know you're a liar. You're a liar.
absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Absolutely. Using that as political gain. Screw you and everything you stand for, you jerk. Oh, makes me mad. Let's see here. You got 2 minutes. Which one do you want?
Oh, 2 minutes. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's just go to the next one. A well-meaning man named Mark offered a tent in his Tasmanian backyard to anyone who may need it. Emergency accommodation for a single person, the advertisement said. And the four-man's tent was listed for $125 a week. With no bills, and specified that didn't include food.
$500 a month to pitch a tent in somebody's yard?
Well, no, the tent comes with it. Yeah, you get the tent. It's not a complete waste. But Mark, the disability pensioner behind the offer, claims he is just trying to help people who find themselves homeless. The man, who pays $450 a week himself in rent, says that he has 7 people living in his home in Risdon Vale on the outer suburb of Hobart. He says, many times I've supported people totally who have had no finances at all. One guy was here for 2 years and wasn't able to pay anything. But I've been stolen from and physically abused by people with anger issues.
Stop letting drug addicts in your home, then, you moron.
They probably just didn't like paying the rent. He's also opened his home to ex-prisoners who had nowhere to go with their families, and offers a sense of community, apparently. Mark has also refurbished a tin shed, which he rents out, and a lady who lives in his caravan, claiming she lived outside a Kmart before he took her in. He says, I'm just trying to do my bit. Yeah. So our friend of Mark's, who originally posted the tent offer, said he's not trying to make a buck from anybody. Well, I don't know about that, but he knows people are
500 of them every 30 days.
Yeah, people are struggling, but he still wants to charge $125 a week for sitting in the tent. He says, I'd rather be, set up in some people said, just absolutely ashamed by it. Says it's terrible. He says, I'd rather set up under the underpass along the highway, and then rather than pay some fuckwit $125 for the privilege of sitting in their freezing backyard.
You know what's going on here, don't you? You must know this. What's going on is he is a hoarder of homeless people. He's hoarding the homeless, right?
Yeah.
Before we run here quick, the campaign is done. NAFO 69 and the Portuguese battalion and us did the second truck fundraiser. It actually finished over the mark at 19,400 euros. Somebody stepped in just like yesterday and just went boom and put like $6,000 or something in. I don't know really what happened, but holy shit, hats off to you. So everybody that contributed and helped and shared it out and so on, thank you very much, because the second is done. Thanks, everybody. Tomorrow we've got the 42 show and 42 minutes later, so you get a double shot. And on that note, we're done.
Yeah, we'll try to remember to put the fucking thumbnail up in time. See you later, everybody.
Watch out for the speed cameras. Big thanks to the team who do everything for us in the background. We've got Annette, DJ CNET, Shayna Caldwell, Crazy Cat, and Super Chat Matt. So big thanks for your efforts, because it makes the channel run.
And thank you, everybody who's sending super chats, donations to become channel members, and all those lovely little things that help keep the channel ticking over. We thank you so much. And don't forget to hit like on the way out. I'm going to do that right now, so you just pretty well do the same, all right? And don't forget to share us out. Share us out. I don't know how you're going to share us out. Go out and take all your clothes off in a museum and make sure it's one. Oh, not even one of those special nights. Just go and take your clothes off in the museum, but make sure you got the Shills tattooed on your chest. And or you could just go to social media like normal people do.
Right, the Shills in the snow with a big urination. See you soon, fellow babies.
Hey, Shilly.